Okay, so now let's add some text to our little logo. So I'm going to take my text tool. I'm just going to click on my project and start typing Backroads Cyclery. Now this is showing up so small I can't even see it, so I'm going to just click the move tool and then select my text character panel and change this to something where I can at least see it a little bit. And then from there, I can just move it around and I actually increase the size, again holding shift to lock the aspect ratio until it looks good. I like aligning things, so I like this text going from the left to the right tire of this bike. And I already have the font chosen, but I chose this font, which doesn't come normally with most Macs, I don't think. It was a font that I had to download. Finesse Pro Regular. So to find that, you can go to dafont.com and then search for Finesse Pro. So this is a font website, dafont.com, and this is a great site for finding font. This font you can only use for personal use, so it's great for showing you guys how to do it, but I can't actually use this font in this logo. And so when you do search for fonts or choose a font, make sure that you can use it for commercial work or pay for the font. But if you want to follow along and you need this Finesse Pro, dafont.com, search for Finesse. Okay, so now I have that text there. I chose it because I like the italics, and I chose this regular size because they do have a light italics, which is nice, but when I'm creating a logo, when I'm doing graphic design like this, I want my text to be about the same size or width as the icons I'm using. So even though the text width of these actual shapes within the text are thinner than the bike tire, the bike frame, it's better than this light italic. This one, it feels awkward to me that the lines of the bike are super thick and the lines of the text are super skinny. So I'm going to make sure it's regular. I could even bold this if I wanted to make it even more thick. And that might look even better, so make it bold. So that is how I add text. And in terms of just moving these things around, I want to just make sure they're placed in a good spot, that the text is big enough to see. Let me see what I had in my original. So my text in my original design is actually a little bit wider than the bike, and that's because I want the text to be seen a little bit more than it is when it's the same width as the bike. So I will just decrease the size of this bike and move this text up a little bit. So this is what I had originally, but I added these lines right here. And that's something that I did to basically just add a little bit more detail to this icon, to this graphic that I'm creating. This felt a little bit plain, and I wanted, since the name of this fake cyclery, this fake bike shop is Backroads, I wanted something to combine the sense of a bike shop with the roads, and that's why I added these lines. So that's what we're going to be doing now. Just take your shape tool. I'm going to change it back to the rectangle tool. So hold down the shape tool, go to rectangle. I'm going to change the fill to white. I'm going to zoom in on this a lot so I can see better. And when I'm zooming in, I can also press down the space bar and then click and drag to move this project around in the window so I can see it better. And then I'm going to go back to my shape tool. Then I'm just going to click and drag and draw a line on this road. So it looks like a road basically. So then what I can do to easily space these out, I can duplicate this 3 times. So I'm just right clicking and duplicating, selecting OK, right click, duplicate. So now I have 4 rectangles stacked on top of each other. I can take this top one and move it to the very right And you can see that these pink lines start to pop up as I move it because Photoshop is trying to align this shape with something. I'm also holding down Shift so that it locks it on this axis. I don't want it to move down at all, like down here. So if I hold Shift, it locks it to that axis. And I'm going to move it all the way to the right side of this text. Now, something cool that I can do is select all these layers and then go up to these align tools, and you can say distribute horizontal centers. What that does is it spaces out these 4 layers equally. And now when I zoom out, you can see that it looks pretty good. It looks kind of like the lines on a road. And just by using that little distribution tool, it spaced them out equally. I didn't have to worry about trying to eyeball it. It's perfectly spaced out. So that is pretty much the graphic that I came up with. You can move these things around, try to get nice space, whatever you want. And in the next video, we're going to be actually exporting our little graphic and making sure that we have a transparent background for this circle.